What is something that's really different about Masters Union ka selection process?
My GD was about Ola versus Uber. But Masters Union provides you with scholarships. So I also got a scholarship.
What is that one last piece of advice that you would give to anyone who is preparing for a Tier 1 college? Today we have with us the man who converted IIM, Masters Union, the best of Delhi University, NMIMS and so on, Avi Srivastav. He was at Hansraj for a year and right now he is pursuing the IPM degree at IIM Rohtak. Now I very fondly call him my classmate. I am really excited to have you here, Avi. Welcome to the first ever podcast of GuideX. How do you feel being here?
Utkarsh, it's a pleasure being here with you. It's a great initiative you've started and it's my pleasure to be here talking to you and to all of us, all of you watching there.
Thank you so much, Avi. So I still remember the first day when you were in college, everyone surrounded you and they were like, "Bhai tu Hansraj chhod ke yahan kyun aaya hai?" So yeah, today we'll understand why he did what he did and most importantly, how to get into the best Tier 1 colleges in India. So Avi, आप हंसराज में थे, a great college, fabulous. What was that final nail in the coffin because of which you left Hansraj and thought that अब मुझे IPM pursue करना है? Was it the IIM tag, the network, the curriculum या फिर कुछ completely different which we can't think of?
See, there are a lot of reasons behind this. When I was in DU, the plus of DU is obviously the kind of peer group you have, the exposure, and all the other things which you have in DU, internships, freedom and time at your disposal to pursue different things. But the reason I shifted from a good DU college to an IIM, first of all, as you mentioned, एक IIM का tag होता है जो इंडिया में चलता ही चलता है.
Get it. Yes.
Secondly, apart from that, the peer group which I wanted was more towards a corporate side, and that was slightly different from what I was getting in DU at Hansraj particularly. So either people like you and a lot of other people which we have in our batch itself, when I look at them, I think probably अगर यार ये बंदा ये नई चीज़ कर रहा है, ये बंदा ये नई चीज़ कर रहा है, that motivates you, that pushes you, and that is the driving factor behind any good college. And those were the two big reasons which prompted me to shift from a good DU college to an IIM.
Definitely, I get that. So, just generally, what would you say a junior who's coming to you selecting colleges? What is a list of factors to consider while comparing two good colleges?
So, to say about that, probably if that really depends on your end goal also. So, if you're pursuing something like a CA or UPSC or something of that sort, then there's no better place in the country apart from DU, because the kind of exposure you get to focus towards a career in UPSC or CA, unmatched when it comes to DU. But if you want a career in corporate business or an own enterprise, then Masters Union or probably IIMs, these are the places you need to go, because peer group is the main thing which plays a role here. A lot of people talk about placements, background, faculty. Yes, all of these are really important. But the most important thing हमेशा जो होती है, apart from curriculum also, is the peer group, because that is what pushes you the entire day, ना? तो that is the thing you've got to keep in mind.
सही बात है. This is one thing that I see that juniors really lack is वो बहुत जन बोलते हैं कि I choose IIM over DU, I choose this, so yes, they just follow it. Yes. They don't see what their personal goal aligns.
Exactly.
To. Definitely. Another thing, what I really feel is, अगर तुम्हें decide or if you have the list of top 5 colleges you want to in your order, that's great, fabulous. But then if you just don't have it before appearing for your boards or for your preparation, you can just go about it, go apply to all the colleges randomly, like just apply to all the colleges and then जो मिलते हैं उसके according अपने preferences decide करो. If I go around comparing college A and college B without even getting both of them, college भी मिला ही नहीं तो मेरा इतना time waste हो जाएगा.
Absolutely, Utkarsh.
So that's definitely there. So you were in DU, you told us why you wanted to leave, why you wanted to join IIM Rohtak. But then when did you actually start your preparation?
So for my IP mat, so I was in the COVID affected batch. So in DU my session actually started from the start of November, first week of November, and by December mid I had completely made my mind कि I probably, because of my personal interest, nothing against DU, this was my personal choice, this was my career choice that I wanted to go to a place where I get a more corporate kind of a background. So it was from around second week of December in 2022 that I decided कि I'll give IPM at 23 another shot.
So roughly you prepared for around 5 to 6 months.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
for all the droppers sitting there, it's never too late to start. That's
Never too late. Never too late. 4 to 5 good months of preparation is more than enough.
Right. Even I just prepared for 1.5 months for IPM, so I completely get that. Yes. So what was your routine like when you prepared? Like, did you follow a particular routine या फिर नहीं जो?
No. So mostly I had classes in the first half. So from around 8:30 to 2:30, not more than that. At the max 3:30. I used to attend classes in DU. After that, I came back to my PG, and then I started preparing for my IP MAT, which included vocabulary lessons, reading, RCs particularly, and then apart from that, mathematics, LR. So around 2 to 3 hours of dedicated preparation daily. This is only up to the last 2 months. In the last 2 months, you have to give it your all. So mocks and everything. So last 2 months is a different ball game altogether. Not considering that right now.
Get that.
But before that, रोज 2 से 3 घंटे consistently is what I gave.
So you told about your routine, told us about your routine. DU में एक चीज़ जो हम लोग ने नोटिस किया कि वहाँ के सोसाइटीज़ कल्चर बहुत competitive है.
Absolutely.
So while preparing for IP MAT कभी ये FOMO नहीं हुआ कि by chance अगर नहीं हुआ, then I'll be left behind in that race.
No. Absolutely. One thing about DU is the societies. My God. I'd say probably one of the best society cultures you will get in the country is in DU because सब कुछ है वहाँ पे, from social service to corporate to UPSC and what not. तो वो तो absolutely that was a trade-off. I was in 3 societies there. One was related to MBA, one related to professional courses, which was called Spark. One related to another, as I mentioned, MBA and all of those courses. And then one related to photography, Pixels.
Right.
Apart from that, there were other societies also related to UPSC, as I mentioned, other social work, NSS, NCC. So any field you name, there is a society for that. Art, culture, music, dance. So all of those. And one of my friends is in Urja, I believe that's the name of the dance society there in Hansraj. So that was a trade-off I had to take. But I kept motivating myself that probably if I get into IIM, the societies and clubs and culture I'll get in an IIM, that trade-off is probably worth it compared to any other society.
A lot of juniors, I completely agree, but then a lot of juniors also come to me that I am थोड़ा सा से रह गया, नहीं हुआ. तो because you yourself were one of them who took a drop and prepared. So what do you suggest to them, these kind of?
See, if you believe कि तुम कर सकते हो and honestly तुमको लगता है कि you will be consistent without cheating yourself, क्योंकि drop year में भाई you have a lot of distractions. Because you have literally the world open to you right now, कुछ करने को नहीं होता, and then it's just that it's up to you how to study, when to study, how much to study, and how much effort you want to give, and everything is up to you because school has just finished, and the only commitment you will have is for your exam. So then it depends on you. पर if you have that belief कि मैं कर लूँगा, मैं consistently रोज minimum 2 घंटे तो बैठूँगा, then definitely go for the drop year. But if you don't have that, then probably you can evaluate other options also. And then why not give, if you want to get into an IIM, why not give CAT another shot later? Right. So depends on the person again. अगर for example if a person A says कि यार मैं इतना regular नहीं हो सकता, I need someone to push, then I'd say probably यार take a backup option.
Right.
You'll obviously have backup options. As you mentioned, 5-6 colleges भरो, 7-8 colleges भरो, make a preference list. कोई ना एक college में तो 100% जाओगी ना. You are a capable person. Go in that college for now. Prepare for your goal immediately. फ्रॉम डे 1 कि मुझे अगर कैट देना है तो मैं कैट की तरफ मेहनत करूँ. ऐसा नहीं कि मैं बैठ के कैट के क्वेश्चन लगा रहा हूँ, बट स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग योर प्रोफाइल, स्टार्ट पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन थिंग्स. दीज आर ऑल्सो थिंग्स विच हेल्प इन बिल्डिंग योर पर्सनैलिटी एंड प्रोफाइल. Then eventually start CAT preparation if you want to get into an IIM later on or any other top B school for that matter. And then जब ये सब करते रहोगे and then get into a B school.
Right.
पर if you have that confidence कि नहीं यार नहीं हुआ इस बार 2 नंबर से रह गया, कोई बात नहीं, I'll start preparing again. रोज़ 2 घंटे दूंगा अभी के लिए और एग्जाम जब जैसे पास होगा रोज़ 12-12 घंटे दूंगा. तो then obviously it is up to you.
Definitely. So you also talked about while talking about all these कि get engaged in other activities and stuff.
Absolutely.
So बहुत जन ऐसे भी होते हैं जो dropper I have talked to, they are like 1 साल पूरा मेहनत करूँगा अभी IIM में घुसने के लिए, and then once I get into that फिर सारी मेहनत करूँगा in extra curricular activities and stuff. So आपका perspective क्या है इस पे?
See, I personally tried to make my profile ever since class 9th. I wanted to start early because मेरे स्कूल में again as I mentioned peer group really matters. मेरे स्कूल में people started even earlier. As soon as class 6th, I started from 9th. So I had a decent enough profile to get into a good college, considering a high school student, obviously.
Right.
क्योंकि I'll compare myself with apples.
Right, I completely get that.
हाँ, so 12th तक I had a decent profile, and then I thought when I came here, I gave myself 1 term, so 3 good months to understand the system, the pedagogy, how things work. Give myself time to even settle down academically, because when you enter into an IIM, the academic workload you have to manage is also decent.
Right.
So you'll have to work
Definitely.
hard. Yes, exactly. The rigor is obviously there.
Right.
So you'll have to work hard, and that has its own perks. So मेहनत करो starting में. So पहले 3 महीने I was simply trying myself, giving myself the time to understand the academic part.
Right.
And then in the second term, I thought probably now I've got myself comfortable here. I understand the system well. Academics were well managed by them. So why not give case competitions, internships, and other things also a chance, and build profile again. So again, if someone who doesn't have a profile at all, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता भाई. Right now, completely focus on your academics or your competitive exam. Get into the college. Again, give yourself time. Once you enter into college, भाई ऐसा नहीं कि पहले दिन आते ही have to start working. Give yourself 10-15 days, even a term, as I said. And then from this next term, but then you've got to keep this in mind कि आगे you'll have to prioritize. Sometimes you'll have to study more, sometimes you'll have to work on other things. So decide what you want to do. But if you already have a profile, that's an added bonus, because that gives you the luxury कि you can start later.
Definitely, and also getting to what you say, that you already had a profile well established. So if people have been lacking somewhere there, हमें एक और चीज़ देखना पड़ेगा कि when you are sitting for an IIM interview, you also have to give your achievements.
Exactly.
So बस अगर IPMET crack हो गया, what will you do in the next round? So definitely that's something I completely agree with you.
Exactly.
Something very interesting what you said was that आपने 9 से सब कुछ शुरू कर दिया था करना.
Right.
So at this stage, class 9, 10, 11, 12 वाले stage में people nowadays have this tendency that क्या करूँ इतना कुछ करने को, क्या prioritize करूँ क्या नहीं करूँ.
Right.
And also this new concept has started, is boards actually important, the CBSE, ICSE या फिर state exam जो भी होता है. So इससे I have 2 questions for you. फर्स्ट, आपके 11-12 में कितना प्रायोरिटी बोर्ड्स को था, कितने प्रायोरिटी बाकी चीज़ों को था, एंट्रेंसेज या फिर वॉट एवर क्लब्स एंड सोसाइटीज यू आर अ पार्ट ऑफ. एंड सेकेंड, हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट इज बोर्ड एग्जामिनेशंस पर्टिकुलरली इन टुडेज जनरेशन, अभी दैट ऑल द कॉलेजेस हैव स्टार्टेड हैविंग देयर ओन एग्जामिनेशंस विद CUT, IP मैन, मास्टर्स यूनियन हैविंग देयर ओन टेस्ट.
Right. So answering your first question, prioritizing your co-curriculars or boards. So again, depends on the time of the year you are sitting in. If the year has just started, so basically अगर तुम 9th में हो अभी, तो अभी तो तुम्हारे पास बहुत टाइम है. Look for MUNs, debates, these apart from that group discussions. तुम्हें लगेगा कि अभी मैं ये सब क्यों कर रहा हूँ, पर whichever field you choose, whether you want to go into an IIT, an IIM, DU, your personality always stays with you.
Right.
So you need public speaking, you need that confidence, you need other soft skills. एंड ये कोई कोर्स से नहीं आती हैं.
हाँ,
ये प्रैक्टिस से आती हैं, एक्सपीरियंस से आती हैं. सो स्टार्ट डूइंग दिस जर्नल थिंग्स, एंड इनडायरेक्टली तुम अपनी प्रोफाइल बना रहे हो. तुम 10th में आए हो, थोड़ा सा टेक अ बैक सीट ऑन दीज थिंग्स. आई पर्टिकुलरली गिव अ लिटिल मोर इम्पॉर्टेंस टू बोर्ड्स, क्योंकि लेटर ऑन ऑल्सो व्हेन यू गो फॉर एनी कॉम्पिटेटिव एग्जाम, वेदर फॉर एग्जाम्पल एज रेंज माइट डिफर फ्रॉम अ UPSC थिंग टू एन IIM थिंग. 10th 12th हर जगह देखेंगे, बिकॉज दे वांट कंसिस्टेंट स्टूडेंट्स. Profile वगैरह is important, but your profile is only considered when you are academically qualified enough to sit in that interview.
Right, completely.
So if you don't have that particular qualification, तो फिर तो तुम पहले ही बाहर हो रेस से. So have that, but give importance to your goals, particularly especially when you enter 11th. तो फिर once you settle down into 11th with your academics, because 11th and 10th में एक हल्का सा academic difference आ जाता है.
Right.
Whether that be PCM, commerce, humanities, whatever field you choose. हल्का सा there's a difference, because I was from science, so I could feel a lot of difference. So once you academically settle down, start building a profile. Again, choose different competitions, startup competitions, whatever you want to do. But at the same time, at the back end, know what you want to do. In terms of the college aspect, the career aspect, to start preparing for your competitive exams.
Definitely.
पीछे on the back end. 12th में you'll have lesser time, because क्योंकि तुमको एग्जाम्स, बोर्ड एग्जाम्स भी देखने, तुमको थोड़ा प्रोफाइल का काम तो करना ही पड़ेगा, बिकॉज यू कंप्लीटली कांट डिस्कनेक्ट विद दैट, एंड तुम्हें कॉम्पिटिटिव भी करना है. तो देयर आर 3 थिंग्स. सो इनिशियली तुम थोड़ा पहले 3 महीने, सो इफ़ यू स्टार्टिंग इन अप्रैल, थोड़ा सा प्रोफाइल बनाओ, काम करते रहो. कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम तो शुड गो साइमल्टेनियसली थ्रू आउट द ईयर, एक्सेप्ट फॉर द बोर्ड्स का पीरियड. सो देन व्हेन यू एंटर probably अक्टूबर नवंबर, फॉरगेट अबाउट प्रोफाइल, पूरा बोर्ड्स पे फोकस हो जाओ फॉर द नेक्स्ट 6 months, एंड अप टू जनवरी थोड़ा सा कॉम्पिटिटिव साइमल्टेनियसली करते रहो. अगले 2 महीने देन कंप्लीटली फोकस ऑन बोर्ड्स, एंड देन आफ्टर बोर्ड्स यू विल हैव अनदर 1.5 गुड months टू अगेन कॉन्सेंट्रेट ऑन योर कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स.
Definitely.
तो मैनेज इट दिस वे. इफ इट डजंट, then again it's your choice. What kind of person are you? Can you take a drop? Do you have good options? Again, then that is a later thing, but this is the kind of way I like to arrange it. And answering your second question, boards की importance, people say कि boards की importance नहीं है. In my opinion, boards की importance है. Even you sit into IP MAT इंदौर का interview, you sit in an IIM रोहतक का interview, you sit for CAT later on. उसमें भी boards की weightage होता है. और अगर इफ यू गो फॉर समथिंग लाइक अ UPSC वगैरह, अनलेस एंड अनटिल यू गो फॉर CA, आई डोंट थिंक CA में देयर इज उसमें नहीं होता. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट बाकी हर जगह होता है, एंड वी आर लिविंग इन अ कॉम्पिटिटिव वर्ल्ड. तो छोटा छोटा मार्जिन भी मेक्स अ डिफरेंस. सो यू हैव टू गिव इंपॉर्टेंस टू दीज थिंग्स.
एक तो you talked about MU, and that's something that I really appreciate, and something that I really suggest मेरे सारे students को करने के लिए. Be networking, socializing, public speaking, researching, negotiating, कुछ भी बोलो, मतलब MU जो wholesome experience देता है, nothing can replace that. That's one thing. एक package है सब कुछ का. Completely agree. Now you also talked about how you switched from science to economics and now finally to management.
Yes.
So what was the factor जो science छोड़ के आप normally termed as commerce related subjects में आ गए?
I loved economics from the get go.
Right.
So my subjects in class 11th and 12th were PCM, and economics was my optional subject.
Right.
I was a little confused at the end of 10th कि chemistry was also something which really interested me, and economics was also something which interested me. So I was sure कि maths तो लेना है, because analytical skills and all of those things always come in handy, whichever field you go. So I had maths. That was sorted. Now to choose between science and commerce, it was more of a trade-off. So I thought probably I can later switch from science to commerce also. So why not go with science for now, and then because economics was something which I loved so much, so I had economics as my optional. But by the end of 12th, I realized that science interested me, but I will not make a career in science.
Right.
There's a difference.
Completely.
I can be interested into sports, but I might not make a career in sports.
Right.
Right. So similarly, I was interested in science, maths, chemistry, physics also to some extent, but I did not want to make a career by becoming an engineer, doctor. And I realized economics is something यार कि it fascinates me कि यार दुनिया में चीज़ें होती दिख रही हैं. So I realized कि probably I can switch into something related to economics. I went to DU. When I went to DU, I further realized कि यार economics भी एक specific field ही हो गया. I'm interested into a whole lot of things. How things work, how world works, and that comes in management.
Right.
And hence you find me sitting here in front of you today.
So amazing. So बहुत जन हैं who are from science background, sciences बोलते हैं, लेकिन they want to switch to commerce, economics, management, something of this sort. Because you have traveled this path, what do you think? Was it difficult for you switching from science to economics? What do you suggest these people, especially जो science लिए अभी लेकिन 12th का switch करना चाहते हैं?
नहीं, it is absolutely. There are some challenges for sure. Personally, talking about myself, I love studying about economics, as I mentioned, markets, all of that. Marketing is also something which fascinates me, but accounts and all of these things are something which personally I find challenging.
Right.
But being a science student also, you will have that one subject जो थोड़ा सा weak होगा. It can be physics, it can be chemistry, और maths कुछ भी एक subject होगा which challenges you a little more than other subjects.
Right.
Similarly, you'll find it here also. So it's not very difficult to switch. It's about the interest or inclination. If you have that inclination एक भी सब्जेक्ट में, इकोनॉमिक्स में है, बिजनेस स्टडीज़ में है, फाइनेंस में है, मार्केटिंग में है, या अकाउंट्स में है फॉर दैट मैटर, तुम आराम से ट्रांजिशन कर जाओगे, बिकॉज दैट इंटरेस्ट ड्राइव्स यू देन.
एक्चुअली द प्रॉब्लम इज हम लोग 11th में इतने स्ट्रिक्ट वाटर टाइट बाउंड्रीज बना दिया साइंस, ह्यूमैनिटीज एंड कॉमर्स, दैट क्रिएट्स ऑल द प्रॉब्लम. वरन आप देखो तो साइंस इज मोर अ लिटिल टुवर्ड्स एनालिटिकल साइड, कॉमर्स थोड़ा आपको मैनेजमेंट करना है जो करना है, लेकिन एट द एंड ऑफ द डे इट्स ऑल अ होलसम थिंग.
एग्जैक्टली.
अब राइट नाउ पीपल आर परस्यूइंग आईपी मैट, जैसे आप अगर साइंस बैकग्राउंड से यू विल हैव अ लिटिल एज टुवर्ड्स पाइथन या फिर डिफरेंशियल कैलकुलस समथिंग ऑफ दोस सब्जेक्ट्स. वी हैव अ लिटिल edge towards accounts or something. So
exactly, because management में तो आता सब कुछ है ना. It's not
exactly.
It's only commerce, yeah, it is only science. Management, when you go into an MNC, for example, if you go into Google, it is a tech-based company.
Right.
There you're expected to know some basic tech. So management, especially the thing I love about IPM, whether that be IIM Indore, Rohtak, Bodh Gaya, or any other IIMs, these
right.
5-year IPM courses, the course structure is very holistic. So you'll study
Definitely.
courses from humanities, so sociology, psychology, philosophy भी है, to maths के subjects which are more science oriented like differential, integral calculus, Python, data structures, to commerce के subjects like economics, macro, micro,
right.
accountancy, financial management systems, all of those things. तो हर चीज़ का एक idea मिलता है, which is very important in my opinion again.
Definitely. So again you mentioned something in the past that आपके स्कूल में everyone was pretty competitive and आपके पास बहुत opportunities थे.
Yes.
So there are also a lot of people जिनके school doesn't give them so much opportunities apart from academics.
Absolutely.
So is there any way you could figure out that in look how can these people scout for opportunities?
अब तो there are a lot of good websites. So Swayam is one of them, which
right.
all of us use even today.
Definitely.
So Swayam हो गया, Udemy है, Coursera है. These are some places where you can build your profile in terms of courses.
Hey.
Apart from that, if your school doesn't provide you with enough public speaking opportunities, there are clubs which you can find on LinkedIn, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, हर जगह मिलते हैं.
Right.
You join those, they have their meetings, their rounds. Apart from that, there are a lot of open MUNs right now. So there are open MUNs, public debates. Volunteer and participate in them. Register yourself.
Right.
You don't win, that is a बहुत later stage के बात. Right now, participate, understand how things work. If I go for the first time when I went into an MUN, I saw a lot of people who were speaking much better than me.
Definitely.
And that influenced me. I wanted to become like that person who was speaking on the podium. And that pushes you eventually to
100%,
become.
yes.
So if your school doesn't provide you with that opportunity, probably if you're from a remote place, छोटे शहर से हैं, to be very honest, नहीं मिलता इतना चांस, एंड विच इज़ एब्सोल्युटली फाइन. उसमें तुम्हारी गलती नहीं कि तुमको ये सब एक्सपोजर नहीं मिल रहा, पर यू स्टिल हैव दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी टू प्रॉबेबली इन दिस वर्ल्ड ऑफ गूगल एंड इंटरनेट की यू गो ऑन द इंटरनेट, सर्च फॉर थिंग्स. तो कोर्सेज तो रेडीमेड मिल रहे हैं. इंटर्नशिप्स तुम ढूंढोगे, तुमको हर शहर में, छोटे से छोटे शहर में एक NGO होता है, छोटे से छोटे शहर में एक छोटा सा एक स्टार्टअप तो होता है जहाँ पे तुम वॉलंटियर कर सकते हो. गो इन दोज प्लेसेस, ट्राई टू वर्क, अंडरस्टैंड हाउ थिंग्स वर्क. And then as I mentioned, social media pe there are a lot of opportunities. Search for just go on Instagram and type MUN. You will get 100 different MUNs ki list. Go on Google, go MUNs you want to participate. You can participate in those. Particularly one good MUN I know, which everyone should participate, is YMAN. The United Nations officials खुद आते हैं and then they supervise you and teach you a lot of things. It happens only in 3 places in the world. One is in Agra in India, one is in Geneva, Switzerland, and one is in New York, headquarters of United Nations itself. To participate in the Agra wala leg, it happens annually, I guess. एक बार search, I participated long back, so I don't remember what is the trend now, but Harvard MUN, Wyman, Oxford, Pennsylvania का MUN, all of these MUNs happen in India. Mumbai, Hyderabad, Agra, Delhi, Gurgaon, participate in these things.
Definitely. And talking about MUNs, these are just a few. And more than that, we are not promoting only the MUN culture. So if you are a dancer, focus on that. If you are a singer, focus on that. एक स्किल है जिसको you hone yourself जितना करना है. Don't be like completely बस academics करना और कुछ.
Exactly.
That's what we are promoting. So
no one wants bookworms in today's world.
Right. Definitely.
They want a personality who has little of everything.
Definitely.
Because a good institute will polish you in the particular field you want to enter. But for that polishing, you need to have a little base in everything so that you understand what they're going to teach you.
So, being the legend that you converted an IIM, a master's in an good university.
Not at all, Utkarsh.
So, this is what the aim of at least every commerce student is. The main 3 things that they look at is a DU, a master's junior, and an IIM. So, converting all these things, what do you think is that factor that everyone looks at? Ki this is the factor to get into one of our tier 1 college?
See, first of all, as I mentioned, academics is the first priority. If you don't have the academic qualification, you won't even make it to the interview.
Right.
So academics is one. Second, you have the profile, which we already talked about in detail. कि ये सब छोटी-छोटी चीज़ें, but ये छोटी-छोटी चीज़ें बूंद-बूंद से सागर बनता है.
Definitely.
So participate in these things. Finally, when you sit in an interview, confidence and honesty. If you don't know anything, be very honest. Don't be, sir, I think this might be this. Don't think. If you know, speak it. If you don't know, accept you don't know and move on. So
Right.
in any interview I've sat so far, they only look for these things. Are you honest? Are you confident? There are interviews जहाँ पे they'll corner you. Because not everyone knows everything. Not even the brainiest person in the world knows everything.
Definitely.
Neither did Einstein, not even the greatest thinkers of the world know everything. So it is okay. Accept you don't know a particular thing.
Right.
बोलो कि हमें नहीं आता. Be honest, but be confident at the same time. So as I mentioned, fake it till you make it is what they say.
Right.
So do that if you don't know a lot of things. But don't be overconfident at the same time.
Right.
ऐसा नहीं कि मुझे नहीं आता, ठीक है भाई देख लेंगे, नहीं आता तो क्या, ये मतलब नहीं होता इसका.
When he says fake it till you make it, he means faking the confidence, not
exactly.
faking your answers.
Exactly.
So, yes.
Don't fake the answers. The technical things go technical.
Right.
Confidence can be faked.
Right.
Not the other
definitely.
things.
So amazing. So एक hypothetical situation समझ लेते हैं. Suppose this is a battlefield और आप यहाँ खड़े हो और तीन तरफ से आपके पास सैनिक आ रहे हैं. एक तरफ से IIM आ रहा है, एक तरफ से CUET आ रहा है, एक तरफ से मास्टर्स इंजीनियरिंग का एग्जाम आ रहा है. And all three things are completely different. तीनों का एग्जाम स्ट्रक्चर, तीनों के प्रोसेस completely different. So how do you think you'll go about them individually?
Again, as I mentioned, it is एक there's a saying that अगर तुम बहुत सारे नावों पे एक साथ सवार होते हो तो डूब जाओगे.
Right.
Don't do that. पहले make this very clear in your mind कि मेरा ultimate aim क्या है. Do you want to start your own business? You want to work in the in a top MNC? Do you want to do UPSC? Do you want to go for CA? Do you want to do something else? Accordingly choose a college and prioritize in 11th and 12th. क्योंकि college तो है बाद में, पहले अभी तो तुम स्कूल में हो ना, स्कूल की पढ़ाई भी है.
Right.
वो सब भी करना है, साथ में प्रोफाइल भी देख रहे हो तुम. तो मेक श्योर इफ़ यू एज ए मेंशन, अगर तुम्हें CA UPSC या कुछ इस टाइप से कुछ करना हो, वर्ल्ड में देयर इज नो बेटर प्लेस देन DU.
But then again we need to understand that 11-12 में people are not
More
very
confused,
understandable and
right.
confused to see that आगे क्या करना है.
Right.
अब आज मैं कॉमर्स का स्टूडेंट था, I applied to all of these colleges
Right.
because I was myself not sure that क्या करना है. And as I said थोड़ी देर पहले कि अगर मैं रिसर्च करता IIM के बारे में, DU के बारे में, कितना ही रिसर्च कर, that takes up a lot of time.
Right.
So if I'm this confused, why not just give, and अगर मैं IIM को अपना प्रायोरिटी दे रहा हूँ because of which I थोड़ा slack off from CUET के preparation. By chance if that doesn't happen, then what? So keeping all these factors in mind,
See.
if a student wants to sit in all the exams,
Yes.
then how should he go about it?
इट इज़ वेरी सिंपल. अगर तुम 11th-12th अच्छे से पढ़ रहे हो, सो CUET का सिलेबस मोर और लेस इज द सेम.
Right.
11th-12th का CBSE सिलेबस. So if you're studying well in 11th-12th, CUET is being taken care of.
Right.
You'll have to put in extra efforts, obviously, अलग से भी for the exam.
Right.
Because exam में हल्की सी थोड़ी changes है, but 90% you're putting in. So one thing taken care of. Now once you're preparing for IPMAT, you're automatically preparing for something like Masters Union because उसका syllabus is more similar to entrance terms.
Okay.
Obviously in Masters Union एक procedure is slightly different. After the first selection round there is a 2-minute video which you have to make.
Right.
There is also other things about portfolio, profile, and then interviews तो common है. So you actually are only focusing on two things. कॉलेज स्कूल की पढ़ाई कर रहे हो तुम, CUET टेकन केयर ऑफ मोस्टली. तुम IPMAT की तैयारी कर रहे हो, मास्टर्स यूनियन ऑल्सो टेकन केयर ऑफ मोस्टली. So this is the strategy you should opt for if you want to sit in all the exams, and then later as you move towards the end, then push yourself towards one thing because April May इसी में एग्जाम्स एक साथ होते हैं.
Right. You talked, yeah.
हाँ, but then initially तुम ऐसे प्रिपेयर कर सकते हो as I mentioned.
You talked very nicely about that. बस हार्ड वर्क नहीं करना, you have to strategize कि
Exactly.
कौन से जगह में क्या क्या चीज़ ओवरलैप हो रही है.
Exactly.
So if I'm applying to 10 colleges, don't have that fear that 10 अलग अलग एग्जाम देने हैं, क्या करूँगा, कैसे
Exactly.
दूंगा, 8-10 एग्जाम तो नहीं सकूंगा.
Exactly.
See that उसमें से 6-7 एग्जाम का तो सिलेबस सेम ही है.
Exactly.
If you're preparing for IPMAT, you are covered for NPAT exam, you are covered for Christ के exam, you are covered for Masters Union के exam because all the syllabus are same. So don't have that mentality कि मैं 8 एग्जाम दे रहा हूँ कैसे दूंगा.
वो 8 में 2 एग्जाम है.
Right, exactly. That's really good. That's something that really helped me during my preparation, and that
Yes.
didn't help me. That didn't let me demotivate myself that मैं इतना कुछ कैसे करूँगा.
Absolutely.
So it's great that you started the conversation about Masters Union ka process. So अब Masters Union has started getting that traction that this is the place where practical learning meets theoretical learning. Now not commenting on how Masters Union is, but then particularly focusing on the selection process because you were the one who cracked it. So what is something that's really different about Masters Union ka selection process?
Masters Union ka selection procedure is something which is very holistic, and that is something I really appreciate and admire about their selection procedure. You have a पहले application now.
Right.
You have to submit a 2-minute idea. It can be related to. So I submitted an idea related to how I can contribute to environment with a startup of my own, because Masters Union is something related to more oriented towards having your own startup.
Right.
Become an entrepreneur, start your own business, all of that.
Right.
So you have to start with that. Then there is a short aptitude test which they have.
Right.
I think it's MU-BAT or something of that. So I don't recall the exact name, but you have to give that. Then if you clear that also, then there is a GD.
Right.
So my GD was about Ola versus Uber. So you have to make a own strategy. You have to discuss among yourself, and there is an observer sitting. And then finally you go for the interview. So this is a very holistic process. Judges you on your thinking skills, analytical skills, your crisis management, because you are sitting in a GD, you're sitting in an interview, and then obviously technical knowledge when it comes to your entrance test also. So this is the entire procedure, and I believe if you are honest and hardworking and strategize things well, as I mentioned during IIM preparation and Masters Union, तो दोनों पूरा राउंड बहुत आसानी से क्लियर हो जाता है. एंड द बेस्ट थिंग अबाउट मास्टर्स यूनियन इज कि initially a lot of people also are afraid of the finances they have to put in, but Masters Union provides you with scholarships. So I also got a scholarship. A lot of my other friends and juniors who gave Masters Union this year also got scholarships. So they give you scholarships. That is a wonderful program again, provided you have that kind of inclination.
So I would really love to delve more into the process of Masters Union, लेकिन उसके पहले this is something that really intrigues me, that scholarship देते हैं लोग, because a lot of people just don't apply to Masters Union thinking that इसका तो fees मैं pay नहीं कर पाऊँगा or I don't have that financial background. So how do you get this scholarship? Do you have to apply something or कैसे करते हैं?
Okay, so I believe since I gave this exam in 2022, so because from 2022 to 2023 was the time when they started this for the first time. So when I gave this in 2023 ke start, for the first batch which they had for Masters Union, you have to make sure that you consistently do well. So your academics is overall fine, your interview is decent. If you give every round in a decent way, that ensures you get you get a scholarship. The amount and percentage of scholarship then depends on how well you do that.
Definitely. So it's completely
on your performance, merit-based
and not a need-based.
Not a need-based. It's on merit.
So even if you are not being able to have the financial background to get into Masters Union, keep this in mind that you can obviously get a very good scholarship.
Exactly.
Yes, that's great. So now delving into each topics of the Masters Union selection process, as you said, it was really holistic. So there was an essay, I believe.
Yes.
So what was the essay about and how did you go about that? Anything you would like to, any tips you would like to give to
again, essay is something you have to research. Pehle know your topic.
Right.
Then
what was your topic?
I'm not exactly sure of it because it was some time back.
Sure.
But it was, but the basic things which I kept in mind while I wrote, it was more of a statement of purpose. So that comes in TAPMI also, that comes in Masters Union also.
Right.
So you have to make sure you know the topic pehle. Then you start with the basic details like what the topic is about, build on it, then come on to the main body and share your opinions in a very non-political way.
Right.
So even if the topic is controversial at times, for example, sustainable energy policy in India, don't say I love this policy, I hate this policy.
Right.
Talk about economics. Support your statements with facts. Bring in numbers, and then build a very subtle opinion, and then eventually conclude that all this has happened and probably things look bleak or optimistic according to what data suggests. Never give your own personal opinion in a GD, in an interview, or for that matter even in an essay, because that shows that you're opinionated, and that is the last person they want in an institute.
Right. So when it comes to essays, 3 things we get from Avi is: first thing, don't give your personal bias to it.
Exactly.
Keep in mind that you shouldn't be hurting someone's sentiments.
Yes.
2, include a lot of facts and numbers. And 3, be optimistic. No one wants to have someone who is really pessimistic on board.
Exactly.
Great. Lovely. So now coming to the 2 minute video submission, that's something that's really particular to Masters Union and something that they have really dominated on.
Right.
So how did you go about making that, and what do you suggest to our viewers?
So I made this project on gas filters to reduce the carbon emissions.
That's interesting.
Yes. So I researched about how much carbon emissions happen from vehicular emissions, and then what is the main composition, and what is the industrial way to treat it, and why aren't these big companies able to filter it.
Right.
So I might not be very scientifically correct, because how much will you expect from a class 12 student? But I still try to research about what are the basic things. I try to come up with a product. I looked for what are the ingredients required in it, came up with a basic cost structure so that I can support, and it is feasible enough for the common man as well, and presented that. And I think that really clicked with the panel there, because they look at your effort. Once you go into that institute, they'll teach you how to finance things, they'll teach you how to make a cost structure, you'll probably appoint someone for the technical things also.
Right.
You won't do that personally. You'll need people, you'll need a team for that. But are you consciously aware enough to think in that direction is what they judge.
Right.
So that is what I try to do.
Amazing. So आपका background कहीं ना कहीं आपको help कर ही देता है.
Exactly.
Being from science really helped you here.
Absolutely.
It sounds amazing. Like at the initial stage, what you are telling us right now, it sounds amazing of a plan, definitely.
Thank you.
So okay, great. So now moving on to something that people are really anxious about, thinking that भाई ये तो record नहीं कर सकते वापस, like a video we can shoot it 10 times. So interview. So how would you judge your interview on a scale of 1 to 10? How scared were you?
See, even if I'm scared, I never show it, because I keep a smile. I keep a permanent smile on my face. I'll keep smiling this way, and that's it. So even if I'm scared, I'm smiling. This happened even during my club committee selections over here, or for that matter in any interview which I've sat earlier also.
Right.
Other person does not know you're scared.
So fake it till you make it.
Yes. Keep smiling.
Right.
Even if you don't know, I'm sorry sir, I'll probably look up the answer after the interview. If you don't know the answer, just don't say that I don't know. So
Right.
You'll look for the answers. You're interested to know. Show your curiosity. Show that optimism. That is what most of the interviewers look in a person when they interview someone.
So here we get to know that you are definitely someone, even the interviewer knows that you are not someone who will know everything in the
Absolutely.
world. But then even if you don't know something, how curious you are to know that thing in the future is something that really clicks to the judges.
Exactly.
Definitely great. So now the interview, was it a kind of a stress interview जहाँ पे बहुत grill किया, या फिर it was more of a chill kind of a scene?
Depends. Again, if you start off well, most of the interview might go well, unless and until the panel has decided to test you in that aspect also. In most cases, just after class 12th, they don't give you a stress interview.
Right.
They want to know who you are, how original are you, how honest are you, how good are you with academics, all of those things.
Right.
But if you have a rocky start, then they'll probably want to test you that you've already started in a not so good way. Then how do you respond to pressure and stress? So then they'll try to corner you, and that is the time you will have to push them away, and then come up with your own strategies, be confident, smile, answer confidently, even if you don't know, accept you don't know. So it really depends how you start. But in most cases, this is according to my personal experience, after class 12th, they don't really judge how scared are you. They judge you as a person overall, because they'll train you in the institute later on.
Right, definitely.
Exactly.
So one thing that we see here is one thing we see here is for the interview round, have a good introduction, be pre-prepared for it. Second thing, if something messes up in the introduction, you still have a chance, make the interviewers believe that you still are worth the candidature. And the one thing that I would like to add here is, even if you are having a stress interview, you might be feeling that I am really performing really bad, but then you never know that the judges are actually doing that to you, the interviewer is knowingly doing that to you, you don't know that. So I will always say that till the time the interview is not ending, just focus on giving your best, because you never know that even if you are doing really well, the interview might be pushing you to your boundaries.
Yes. Don't reject yourself, let them reject you.
Right, definitely. Don't reject yourself, let them reject you. Great. So now one thing that I really want to know is, what was the difference between the Masters Union interview to the IIM Rohtak interview?
So most of the IIMs, they are slightly more they have that academic aspect also. They want to test you on academics also.
Right.
Masters Union is more or less 90% based on your personality.
Right.
They don't really want to interfere about or want to know about your academics a lot, because that is something they've already taken into account earlier on.
Right.
So that is one thing. Apart from that, both of them want to know about your personal achievements, your profile.
Right.
So if you have that, it is an added bonus.
Right.
Apart from that, your background, how confident. These are the basics which they want to, which all interviews see. Apart from that, the only main difference is that Masters Union does not consider academics as such during the interview, but you'll have academic questions during any of your IIMs.
Right. So in the Masters Union interview, you'll be more focusing towards your personality related questions.
Yes.
In the IIM interview, it's holistic of the personality, but then again, you also have to prepare your 12th syllabus when it comes to maths, physics, and you might encounter questions like that too.
Yes. And apart from that, even if you're a science student, you've got to know basics of business, economics, basic terms like inflation and all of those things, because you're entering a B school.
Right.
They expect you're switching streams. They expect you to know basics about the stream you're going to switch into.
So, आपके साथ कुछ हुआ था, like you were asked something about economics?
No. So I had economics.
Right.
But a lot of other friends who gave IPMAT, they faced this problem. They did not know basic terms about business, about economics, financial terms, accounting terms, which you should know. I'm not saying you should know everything about 11th, 12th.
Right.
But you should know the basics.
Okay, so as a science student, if you're preparing for the IPMAT Rohtak interview or any IIM interview, remember that you also just have a brush upon on the concepts of economics, commerce, accounts and things like that. Here also don't be intrigued or fear that how will I go through that. That's just the basic on it. You should also know that once you're enrolled in the IPM program, the first year, the first 2 years, you have a lot of subjects that teach you a basic about 11th and 12th too. So to get everyone at par.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Great. So during this entire process, this is actually really overwhelming, applying to a lot of different colleges and waiting eagerly till the time you get one, and you actually don't know what's happening to you, what would happen, what the decision would be.
Right.
So during this entire process, did you have someone as a mentor or a guide?
My parents.
Definitely.
So my parents were very supportive, because there were moments where you break down, because you have that pressure, you have that tension, you have the stress. At that point of time, my parents were really supportive. They would really encourage me, motivate me. Even you have a bad mock score doesn't mean you'll have the same score in the exam. Exactly. So to give my own experience, I had my mock 2 days before IPMAT Rohtak. I scored just 220.
Right.
And the cutoff here was 409.
Right.
So I scored more than 409, therefore I'm sitting here.
Right, definitely.
So your mock doesn't tell you how you're going to perform there. It's just a learning process.
Right.
It is very easy to get disheartened. Don't do that. Don't let that happen to you.
Right.
And find one person. You can have your parents. You can have your one friend, cousins, whoever comforts you. Tell them everything, because they are your well-wisher. You'll have that one person in your life. And if not, go and consult a senior or come and talk to Utkarsh. He'll probably guide you.
Thank you so much for that appreciation. But then I completely agree with you having your parents and they are there whenever you feel overwhelmed. But apart from that, you also need someone to guide you on which college is good, how to prepare about it, and sometimes your parents might not know in detail. So do you was that person your parent for you, or was it no one?
Yes.
What was your case?
Fortunately for me, I had my parents to tell me about that. But a lot of my other friends, what they do is they talk to the seniors. So they network, talk to school seniors, and try to get into contact with people who are already there, so that they tell you what is the exact situation, because they won't lie to you, and then you have a better picture.
Definitely.
So try to network in that aspect.
Wonderful, wonderful. So to sum all of this, what is that one last piece of advice that you would give to anyone who is preparing for a tier 1 college or any college for that matter? What should a holistic approach be to plan on getting into college?
First of all, study school ka material well.
Right.
Be consistent with your consistent and honest at the same time with your competitive exam ki preparation. During the interview, just be yourself. Just be yourself. Give it as if you're talking to your friend, your best friend. You're explaining things to your best friend.